Essay you need to grant permission.
All right, 1 second. I'll just do it live right now. All right, everyone should have it now. All right, so we're gonna go over how to effectively create a new list from your past email list. And in this particular example, Brendan and I we were talking and we were having a conversation about our sale processes and how we can move forward. And obviously, I have lists already, and we came up with the concept to say, okay, why don't we go back to our emails, right? Let's go back 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever, how far back we could possibly go and source all the emails we possibly can. So this process, and essentially I want you to look at it as like a SOP. This is something that you can do. In this particular example, I am talking directly about using Gmail, but then you can do Google searches and find it for Outlook or find it for any other platform. So I'm going to take you through 14 steps, and I'm going to show you step by step, and I'm also going to show you the live results, and then the next step after that, what to do with this email once you get it, right? So I'm going to go down, and I'm going to jump down to step one. Well, first, let's go over email scraping and email scrubbing. So the best way to describe email scraping is essentially it's a system or a software that could potentially go through your emails. It's going to search your email headlines. It's going to search your email body. It's going to search emails that you sent and emails that you received. And it's going to capture all those email addresses. Like that's the bare minimum of what email scraping is. Now, email scrubbing essentially then goes through these emails and verifies them. It wants to make sure that they're not fake emails, that they're not emails that are just set up for spam. They want to make sure that these emails are real emails that you can kind of get a response to. So that's the other step. And these are two steps that you need to do to get yourself a really useful list. You could have a large list, but if you're sending it to dead emails, for example, an admin email or a welcome email address or an info email address, those email addresses are usually like just catch alls. They're not necessarily someone's name. So going into step one, right? In this particular scraping, I found a plugin that works great for Gmail, and it also scrapes that content directly into an Excel spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet in this case. So the first thing, if you want to, you can go ahead and click this YouTube video and look at it at a later notice, but I'm going to pretty much go through most of the steps on this presentation. To get access to that, you can go to this link, and once you install it, and again, you just double click on it, you'll go through the installation process, you'll verify it as your regular Gmail address, and then what you do to activate it is you go to your extensions, you go to email extractor, and then you click open. Step two, once you get it open, it's going to give you this dashboard on the right hand side. In this particular dashboard, what I said, I want to look for all emails in my inbox, my spam, my important, my sent, my received, every single thing possible. I checked all the filters and then I clicked extract. Now, when I say it took 3 weeks, I'm being facetious, but really it took probably 4 hours for it to go through all my emails in that email box to render out the final number, which was close to 60,000 emails. Then step three. Now, some of you hate spreadsheets, hence why I put the codes in here. And again, the codes are going to be your best friends because you don't have to write them. I already wrote the codes for you to make it easy for you. So out of that 60,000 emails that I've sourced and I scraped, I wanted to make sure that there weren't duplicates. So I used this unique code. And the unique code is something that you put into a spreadsheet and you say, hey, I need you to go through all these items on the left-hand side, and I want you to find me everything that's not a duplicate and create a new column. So if you put this code in and you select the A column, for example, it's going to go through everything and it's going to create you a new column with the actual non-duplicated information. So that's the first step of me starting to scrub what I have already scraped. Step four is after you kind of get rid of the duplicates, you want to utilize a program, and I have a complete list of different variables or programs that you could use out there. Some of them have free, some of them have limitations. In this particular example, I used this platform and I uploaded that CSV file that I downloaded, and I think at the time it was maybe 25,000 emails after I did the removal of the duplicates, and I went through and scanned it. So the only thing I care about when I do this is I want deliverable emails. This is invalids, these are unknowns, these are accept alls, everything but deliverables are just emails that you just essentially don't want to waste your time with, because again, if you're paying per 10,000 emails sent, why would you send out 10,000 emails and only 6,000 of them are actually going to be delivered to the right inbox? So this kind of helps you save money, and it also helps with your open rates. Going back to the presentation, going to step five. So now that I've scrubbed it, the next thing I want to do is I want to then download that CSV file. So in this case, I'll say, hey, I only want to download deliverables. I'm going to download just this 6400, and I'm going to upload that 6400 back into a new tab in my spreadsheet. And what I realized while doing this is that there are uppercase letters and then there's lowercase letters based upon how the people typed it in when they sent me the emails. So in the case of the duplication process, it's looking at that as a totally different email. So what I needed to do was say, hey, I need to make everything lowercase and then process it again. Because again, I want to get to the core and I don't want to send someone more than one email. So this is the code to lowercase all the characters inside of an email address. Then after that, I went and I did unique again to verify that there's no duplicates again. Because again, you want to pre-filter as many times as you can to get to that core audience and that core email address to make sure that when you're talking to someone, they're going to open that email. Step 7, I did a find and replace. So in this case, what I want to do is make sure I have the email address. And then what I also want to do is a lot of times people like mine will be chanel.grant. So what I want to do is I want to separate the at and Gmail or at Yahoo or at Yahoo or at whatever the address is. So this is then going to say, hey, I want to remove every single character from the at sign and 45 characters afterwards. So no matter what it is, it can be a personal email address, it can be a Hotmail account. This is then going to scrub and remove that information, and then now you just have the first part of the email, which is the chanel.grant, and it removes the at after. 8 is then I want to do a search and replace. So with the search and replace, sometimes some email addresses may have numbers, dashes, plus signs, periods. This line of code, then I'm saying, hey, I need everything in this column. I want you to remove all the numbers and all the special characters. So you can see in this image that it had a number before, and I'm saying remove the number and just give me the pure word without the at sign, without the .com, and without any numbers. Step 9, this is more of a physical thing, and I would recommend this is where you probably have to hire a VA, and that's what I use my team for. I said, okay, guys, look, I've written all the codes, everything is set up. Now I need you to go through these few thousand emails and I need you to find these keywords. I need you to find hi, help, reply, orders, admin, sales, privacy, support, welcome, and also your personal email addresses as well. And what you want to do with that, then you want to delete them. You want to remove them. Because again, if I send an email, a marketing email to a privacy ad or to a sales ad, it's going to be a dead lead. Like potentially nobody's not going to open it because it's usually an outbound versus an inbound email address. Going to step 10. Now this is where it kind of gets a little bit more quirky, and again you want to kind of make sure that you're reading these email addresses, and this is a good job for VA as well. Then they want to go in and see the names. Now this name is writer.alex. So this is where you have to have either AI working for you or you have to have a person to realize that Alex is a name. They need to remove the word writer, right? Writer workshop is not a name, so they just need to remove that box completely. So what does that look like in the actual spreadsheet? When it's said and done, and I'll show you in this live spreadsheet. So my guy's actually in here working right now. So these are the email addresses on the left. All the different codes have done the variables. These are the names. And then what I had him go in, I wanted them to go in and say, hey, if it's a conjoined name, I want you to put a space in between. And then there's another code that's going to separate these first name and last names by themselves. The values that are missing are essentially the ones that was a generic name, or it was a welcome, or it was something that wasn't a first name. Going into step 11, then what I'm going to do is I want to split it, which I just showed you the example of splitting that column with the first name and the last name. Step 12 is then going back and saying, hey, we're going to copy all, and we want to paste all of it values only. And the reason why you want to do values only, because that document that you just built is full with formulas. And if you copy and paste, you're going to copy and paste the formulas. So to remove that issue, you have to paste the values only, and then it will allow you to then do a search and find and replace all the values. With all that being said, and I know this was a fast presentation, and that's why I gave you guys access to it and I record these videos, the last step of all of them would be to paste it in there and export out your CSV file. So the final thing that you're going to have once it's said and done is a clean document that has all these email addresses that you probably didn't even think you had access to. A lot of people say they don't have a list, and we took maybe 2 to 3 days and we ended up with, out of 60,000 random emails that were in my inbox, we ended up with over 5,000 emails with names and information to contact, right? So then going into the last step of closing, once you have this, the next part of it is what do you do with this list? So in my case, Brendan and I are working to where we're going to send out this email. We're going to do email marketing, maybe like one for cold, one for hot. And those leads are then going to go to Brendan, and he's going to then communicate with them to kind of get them to get on a phone call with him. On the other side of it, I would say then I would recommend, if you don't know how to do email marketing, then the contact Laney to help you with the email marketing strategy to kind of take that list and then build that list into a system, so then you have a pipeline that's going to be continuously filled. Last but not least, as always, if this gave you value and if you would like, I would definitely like to get some feedback. Let me know if this was helpful and useful. Do you have any questions?
I'm very curious, just based on like who understood this and who didn't, because this was like way, I mean, this essay, your brain is amazing to me.
Yeah, my head's
but
spinning.
like, I feel like there's going to be two groups of us here, like the group that's like, yeah, right on. And the rest of us that are like,
What just happened?
going fetal in the corner going, what the hell was that?
This was an advanced one for sure. This was definitely an advanced one for sure.
Okay, I do have a real question though. Okay, I get garbage emails all the time from people because they scrape my email from LinkedIn. So please don't ever do that, anybody. Why do I want to email those people? Like, why? Because they're names. So it could be Kim. I know Kim doesn't do that to me, but like I could get an email from, I got one like Carter Davey from blah, blah, blah company that I don't care about. I don't want to email Carter. I don't want to open a line of communication with Carter Davey. So why would I do this?
So that's why you want to go through the scrubbing first of all, right? Again, I don't want to send 60,000 emails to random people. So now I have 5,000 people that, and again, I would think everyone on this call that I've had a VC with would probably be in that list by default because I'm scrubbing those emails, right? So everyone here would definitely know it's coming from me or somebody that I work with, somebody that I talk to, or somebody that has communicated with me in one time or the other in the last 20 years. So the first step is to send out that email. Now that first email, the open rate may not be as high as you want it to be, and a lot of people may opt out. And that's a good thing because now I know, okay, well, I've already scrubbed, and let's say another 1,000 people don't open, now I'm down to 5,000. Out of that 5,000, if I get 500 people to open, and out of those 500 people, 10% convert, and one of those people converts for $10,000, everything I just did for 3 days is worth it.
Interesting. Okay.
Curiosity, what platform, you might have said this and I just missed it. What platform do you typically send your emails out? Like a MailChimp or Constant Contact, or what do you typically use?
I have 5 different providers. So one of them I have a lifetime deal, so I have 1,000,000 emails, and then I also have a cold email outreach as well too, so that I can use secondary email addresses, and that's what I'm going to use for this. Because again, I don't want to use like my boss and cage domain because I don't want it to get blacklisted because this is the first time I'm sending out that quantity of emails. So I would say you want to use different platforms for different reasons. Cold email and then hot, and obviously MailChimp can be your hot, and then the cold you just kind of want to search for people or search for platforms that will allow you to send out large quantities without you getting blacklisted.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, because I did this one time. I mean, nothing like this, technically. My version of sending out a cold list, and I used my regular newsletter provider. And, I don't know, I had a huge amount of people who had moved or died or changed their email address, so they bounced. And that flagged me. It became the biggest freaking nightmare dealing with Constant Contact after that I just finally had to just go, I'm going to go with somebody else. So scrubbing it and being really specific, and I guess having a different one for cold and hot would be super important, because I mean, that just started my technology spiral, because I was, these are people that I've met, these are people who asked to be on my list, and years have gone by or whatever, and what a mess. So
yeah, you definitely got to be mindful of it if you're gonna send out a quantity of this large list. I mean, to Laney's point, you definitely can communicate with them, contact with them. I'm telling everyone here right now, you're probably going to get an email from me in the next few days, right? But the reality is it's probably going to come from an alternate email address. It's going to say essay, but it may not be boss and cage. It may be uncaged boss. It may be the vice versa of it. But again, the keywords are going to be there. You're going to recognize it, but it's not going to be my main email address.
All right. So
Did you put this
I have-
already?
Go ahead.
Sorry. Did you already put this in the chat? I was late because I thought that this was the week we were skipping. When it's
No,
next
2
week.
weeks.
I get that now, but
yes, I do have a question. I have an old list. And since I've been terrible about making a new list since I started my firm. So I know a lot of those people personally. How do you go about doing a reintroduction kind of thing with an opt-in? That's my concern, is the opt-in.
Yeah, I mean, you
Piece.
have like 5 people on here that essentially specializes in some space or realm with marketing or funnels, and that's just going to be the strategy. So I mean, if you have a marketing plan, if you're going to do like a webinar like Rachel does, that's a great way to re-opt them back in. If you don't have that, then if you have a podcast, that's another great way to opt them back in. By default, if you want to make a post online, that's another way. But ideally, eventually, you're going to have to bite the bullet and you're going to have to send a list out to figure out who's opening, who's not opening. And again, scrubbing is not something you do once. You have to constantly keep scrubbing your list. And that's how you maintain the balance of what you're paying versus who's actually opening and what you're converting.
Yeah, I'm not the ones to opt in from here forward. I'm talking about all those old, how do you go back to the people you've already got in your list?
I would email them.
Just send an email.
I would send an email and flat out ask.
Okay.
Before you send anything to try and get them to get involved with you, I would just literally send an email and say, haven't heard from you in a while. Do you want to continue receiving communication from me? If you do, you'll get this, this, and that.
Yep. And
Okay.
that's part of the email campaign that we're sending out. The first email is that. It's the, hey, it's SA Grant. We haven't spoken in a while. Blah, 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 blah. Moving forward. If you don't want it, then opt out. So I give them the opportunity in the first email, and that's my first email in my actual email series.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, just another little thing that has helped me add to my list more organically is on my Calendly link. I ask people, I send an email. I send emails every other week. Would you like to be added to my list? Yes, no, I'm already on your list. And I consistently, every 2 weeks, I'm adding probably, because I talked to lots and lots of people all week. So a good number of new names to my list, probably 10 every 2 weeks. So if I'm adding 20 a month, that's slowly growing my list. So just asking permission for people that you're talking to, most people say yes.
I need to figure out how to put it as a check mark in my calendar system, because right now I have it reversed, like SA is saying, where it's like, by the way, if you get a virtual coffee with me, you will be added to the list. So I have to figure out how to do that, like check here if you want that. I haven't figured out how to do it.
You have Calendly?
No.
Oh yeah, I don't know how to do it. Because in Calendly, you can add whatever questions you want to.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way. I've just got to
Yeah.
dig into it and take the time to do that. But right now, all my virtual coffees are just like, sorry, you're on the list now.
Yeah.
Warning.
What
I'm
do
sure
you
there's a way
book
to-
your virtual coffees through?
I do everything through Kartra.
Okay. I haven't used that one a lot, but usually I'm sure we could find a checkbox option in there.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
It's
There's
a
one in
default, and
every.
it's gonna be, there's a way to take it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any way to add customizable questions, like what did you want to talk about? Or how do you want to do this call? Like, I'm
That's true.
sure
There is like redirect to a survey before you book the call or something like that. So I guess
something like that.
Or there's
Okay.
usually even like a hidden field that you can map. I'm getting nerdy, sorry.
Nerd away. Cool. Well, I think essay, anything else? Or we're gonna go to breakout?
Go to breakout. So I mean, in breakouts, I mean, we can kind of continue this discussion. The breakout rooms, I have them set up in pairs, so it's 2 people per room right now.
Cool. Well, why don't we talk about,